Hey y'all, what's up? Joe Bizzle289 here. Today we're going to do a video about the release of the Radeon VII, AMD's newest flagship GPU and the world's first 7nm processor full-on gaming GPU. It was touted super hardcore at CES by AMD as a super direct competitor for the RTX 2080. It's even priced right about the same. So you would think the performance is going to be right about the same or even better. So I watched several videos and reviews of it today. But before I did that, I went out on a limb and by blind faith and support for AMD, went ahead, bit the bullet, and I purchased one. And then I started watching the reviews. This is the most expensive gaming graphics card I have ever purchased, and I was super excited and interested to get my hands on one, but I have to wait. As you can see, I don't have it. I have to wait just like everybody else until my order gets processed. So that could be tomorrow, or it could be until they get some. I mean, there's been rumors that AMD did not create a whole lot of cards, and so they might be, kicking themselves here in a little bit, trying to meet supply and demand. But after watching a lot of the reviews, and from many different product reviewers, many prominent figures within the community, it seems as though this card release is being botched by AMD, and it may have been severely overhyped, just like a recent video game. No Man's Sky, maybe? Maybe I can put up a little graphic of No Man's Sky there. So a little backstory about No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was touted as one of the biggest and coolest MMORPGs that was coming out. It was going to be based in space, based in the future, and space exploration was going to be the main way to drive the storyline. There are so many features touted by the developers. You could team up with your friends. You could have endless exploration. It was just, some of the previews that came out for it were amazing. It really got the community interested. For the first time in a long time, I was super hyped up about a video game. But when it came down to it, and it came to release day, none of the features that the developers promised were there. Sure, there was space exploration, but it just wasn't at the level that had been promised. And as a result, it took almost a year and a half for that game to catch up to where it was supposed to be. I mean, it was plagued by drivers issues, black screens, just a myriad of basic things that should have been taken care of right from the start. And by the time that it is now the game that it should have been when it was originally released, there's not really much interest in it. It's one of those things that's reminded people in the community, don't get overhyped about it. But here we are now with the Radeon VII. Is this what we're seeing with the Radeon VII? It's been touted the main competitor for the RTX 2080, but in several benchmarks that I have seen, it's falling short. All those videos, and many more, all the big PC magazines and everything else like that, they're all saying pretty much the same thing. It's falling short in benchmarks. It's even being beaten by the 3-year-old 1080 Ti. I mean, don't get me wrong, 1080 Ti is a beast of a card, but the world's first 7nm, graphics card with all the extra features, the 16 megabytes of HBM2, the 1 terabyte of bandwidth. You think it should be able to beat a 3-year-old card, but here we are, getting beaten by a 3-year-old card. It's had several drivers issues reported and a myriad of stability issues. Are we being No Man's Sky'd? Yeah, I just used that as a verb. Is it even verbable? I don't know. I'm doing it. I think we're being No Man's Sky'd. I think. But more on that here in a little bit. Another thing here is that AMD even said that it knew of several of these issues before the release. I mean, if you know about something before it's happening, you should probably stop that thing from happening. You should probably take steps in order to mitigate those things from happening. Many drivers issues with many different games, and they knew about it. So why push to production Why push it? You could have delayed it for a little bit. What's so special about the 7th of February? You know, another month of testing, March 7th. You know, you could have had such a better release than what is doing this. And you would have been able to take the king down a heck of a lot better. So overall opinion on the release of what I've seen so far. It's just like NVIDIA's CEO said. It's very underwhelming. And I hate to say that based off of other people's reviews, but that's all that I can base this off of right now, is I don't have my hands on my own. It's coming, but that's once I get it, I'm going to run it through my spectrum of tests, and I'll give you the best review that I can. But with a card that was touted and hyped so much, and at this price point, it should perform amazingly. There shouldn't be driver's issues. There shouldn't be thermal or power draw or stability issues. These all should have been figured out beforehand. Now let's not be too harsh on the card just based off of other people's reviews. I'm still excited to get mine. I really am. I'm gonna put it in the rig and put it through the gambit, like I already said, and give you an honest feedback review of it. The only sector that this card has beaten NVIDIA on, though, is content creation and workload processing, which is a huge redeeming factor for it. But at this price point, trying to compete against the RTX 2080, it should have been better. And I agree with many other people in the industry that the Radeon 7, to truly have made the impact that AMD wanted out of it, is it should have been cheaper. It should have been at a significantly lower price. Now I understand that HBM2 memory is very expensive, and it's over half the cost of the card alone as it sits right now. So I mean, there's that to consider. But you know, even $100 cheaper, then people aren't going to be direct comparing it to the RTX 2080, and so I think AMD, you know, kind of dropped the ball there on that. As of right now, time will tell if we've been bamboozled and no man's guide. I jumped at the opportunity to buy this card, and I hope my love for AMD doesn't come back to bite me in the katukas. Well, that's all that this video is going to be about for today, as we don't have the product. So if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like and give me a subscribe. That's one of the only ways I can continue to bring you more content. And as always,